All right, so shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to start off by saying Brakatham, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Uh, I'd like to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shout out to the whole elect, starting with the 144,000, shalom. All right, so Lord willing, I'm going to knock this lesson out real fast, then go into this. And they kind of play hand in hand through the spirit, you know. I was watching Elder Apostle Tahar lesson earlier, you know, how you see the wrong breakdown of Isaiah 45:17, you know, and as the brother breaking it down, you know, going into, you know, the word world, it's like it, you know, they ain't line up with the word rule in John 3:16, right? But in a sense, you know, through the spirit and power of Hashem, he's breaking it down, going into the shame of how that everlasting shame, you know, how we're going to be without everlasting shame, you know, because we're going to return back to our Father. Or we're going to turn back to Yahweh Shah. We ain't going to have that shame on us of choosing these things, choosing this world, choosing idols over Yahweh Shah. We're going to return back, right? But I want to go into this, right, because it hit me in the spirit, right? Because this is one of the biggest things that Jake fall in, and, you know, a lot of them don't see it, right? It's spiritual fornication, right? And before I read that, I want to go to, let me see. I think it's in Isaiah 44. I got it in my notes. Right. It's Isaiah 44. Bear with me. Let me just go to Isaiah 44 and check. Maker. Yeah, it's like Isaiah 54. It's like, right? So this is Isaiah 54, right? And right? So I'm gonna start at verse 4, because we're gonna be without the everlasting shame, because why? We're gonna return back to our Father Yahweh Shah, right? It says, fear not, for thou shalt not be ashamed, neither be thou confounded, for thou shalt not be put to shame, for thou shalt forget the shame of thy youth, and shalt not remember the reproach of thy widowhood anymore. Right? Because why? Because in the kingdom, we're going to return back to Yahweh Shah. And now we're returning back to Yahweh Shah. That's why these scripts speak about it. The ones going to be in everlasting shame and contempt. Those ones who chose these idols, chose the way of the world, chose the way of these heathen over Yahweh Shah. It says, for thy maker is thine husband. It said, the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, right? It says, of hosts is his name, right? And thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the power of the whole earth, right? Shall he be, right? And Father, right? Turn back to the Father, you know, in a sense, and we're gonna get out of these ways, right? We're gonna get out the ways of these heathen. We're gonna get out the way of this spiritual fornication, right? Let my dog run around before it get real rainy. All right, Shalaki, right? So we're gonna get back to it, right? So as I was mentioning, right, Shalaki, my dog got me sidetracked, but as I was mentioning, right? So we're gonna be without the everlasting contempt, why? Because we're gonna return back to the Father, right? You know, for instance, for thy maker is thy husband, the Lord Yahweh of hosts is his name, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the power of the whole earth shall he be. Because, you know, we in that spiritual marriage with Yahweh Shah, right? You know, we in that spiritual marriage. That's why Scripture speak about, you know, we shall be Revelation 21, right? That's Revelation 21, right? And you read, it says, verse 21-2, it says, and I John saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yahweh out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband, right? Because we're in that spiritual marriage with Yahweh Shah. Marriage just means joined together, and we're going to be joined together with Yahweh Shah in the chariots, right? So we're in that spiritual marriage with Yahweh Shah, right? But Jake has committed that spiritual fornication, right? So first, I want to go into the word fornication. Let's do this, right? Go to that word fornication, right? Extramarital sex, right? Sexual intercourse between people not married to each other, right? But we understand that fornication is sin, right? Fornication is truly sin, right? But anyways, we get into it, right? So you see, fornication is sex, you're not married to each other, right? So we go into the spiritual fornication, right? So he said the theology in religion, spiritual fornication is a metaphorical term for unfaithfulness to Yahweh, right? It describes a person or religious community abandoning, right, their exclusive devotion to Yahweh in order to chase or worship worldly desires, false idols, or deceptive philosophy. And this one's the main thing that destroyed Jake, right? So let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, right? Go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14. I want to say it's verse 15, or it might be 15 and 14, right? Bear with me. Slack it, right? Yeah. Wisdom Psalm 14, right? We'll start at verse 11. It says, therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of Yahweh, right? Because in the creature of Most High, they are becoming an abomination and a stumbling block to the souls of men, right? Why? Because these idols, these other heathens, right? Jake has went into and fell into the ways of these other heathens, right? That's that shame they have chosen the way of these heathens that have been created by men. Most High say, yeah, they have mouth, but they can't talk. Yeah, they have feet, but they can't walk. They have eyes, but they can't see, right? Because these are idols. Right? These are things made by men, right? It says a stumbling block to the souls of men and a snare to the feet of the unwise. It said, for the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. That's why when we came into the land, the Most High told us what? Don't do all these detestable things. Right, you giving laws and commandments not to go against Yahweh Shah, not to go into the ways of the Canaanite. Right? That's where these idols, that's where these things come from, right? When you go back to the Canaanites, the Egyptians, right? Esau, went into that and took that and kept it going, right? But this spiritual fornication is what led Jake to this everlasting shame. Now, choosing these idols of Yahweh Shah. What the scripture says, Most High says he's a jealous power, right? What is that? Jeremiah, Jeremiah. I'll read a couple of these, right? I'll read a couple of these. Exodus 20 and verse 5 says, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord Yahweh, thy power, right, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, right? Because reincarnation, you be reincarnated back into the earth, and Yahweh shall still punish you, third and fourth generation, right? Exodus 34 and 14. Right? It says, for thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord Yahweh, whose name is jealous and is a jealous power, man. Right? Deuteronomy 4 and 24. For the Lord thy power is a consuming fire, even a jealous power. Right? Read a few more. Deuteronomy, right? Now, I'm definitely gonna read Deuteronomy 32 and 16, right? But Deuteronomy 5 and 9 says, thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord Yahweh, thy power am a jealous power, right? That's the same as Exodus 20 and 5, right? I want to jump down right here to verse 32 and 16, right? It says they provoked him to jealousy with strange powers, with the abomination provoked them to anger, right? Then you go to verse 21, what it says, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not power. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. I will move to jealousy with those which are not a people. And that's talking about the Gentiles. You're going to Romans 11, right? Those who are not a people, that's going into those Gentiles, right? How about, all of Israel end up going off, worshiping these idols, worshiping these other gods, right? So the Most High brought the Gentiles in, right? That's when it goes to the outwork of working their days. They continue to read, I'll provoke them to anger with the foolish nation, right? But understanding Yahweh Shah is a jealous power, right? And as you read, go back up to verse 11, right? It says, there shall be upon the idols of the Gentiles, there shall be a visitation in the creature of God, they are becoming an abomination and stumbling block to the souls of men, snaring to the feet of the unwise. Right? Because these creatures, these fake gods, they try to make it in a sense, compare them to the Most High, right? Because the Most High is the only one in true power. Yahweh, right, is the Father. Yahweh Shai is the Son. Them the true power. But they didn't create these false idols, false ways. And as you see, right, these are the stumbling blocks of men, right? At verse 12 it says, "For the devising of the idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication," right? And the reason it says, "In the invention of them, the corruption of life." Because this is what led Jake to that corruption, that everlasting shame and contempt. Then worshiping these idols, worshiping these other gods, what our nation being, punished, right? We led to our nation being punished because we provoked Yahweh Shai to anger, right? I want to go to Isaiah 44, right? Let's start cutting the sound back on. It's like it. Yep. All right. Isaiah 44, right? Start at verse 8, right? It says, "Fear ye not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from that time, and have declared it? Ye are even my witness. Is there a power beside me? Yeah, there is no power. I know not any. They make a graven image. Are all of them vanity? Their delectable things shall not profit. They are their own witnesses. They see not nor know, that they may be ashamed. Who hath formed a god or molten a graven image that is profitable for nothing?" All right, that's what they did. Create out, and now they have the power to give image. Now they got the power to give life unto the image of the beast. Now they got the power to do this. So they're deceiving Jake even more. Jake is falling deeper and deeper to the spiritual fornication. And the more they get into it, the further away they get it from Yahweh Shai. This is what leading them away. This is what leading them to the everlasting shame and contempt. Because they're gonna realize in the end, right, their son is gonna go into everlasting shame, because they're gonna realize in the end they chose these idols when these idols are nothing. Right? Let's go to Psalms 82. Right? No, is it? Might be 96. Yeah, right? This Psalms 96, right, verse 5, it says, for all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord Yahweh have made the heavens. Right? So all the gods of the nations are idols, man. These are all idols. But Jake is caught up in that spiritual fornication, right? Worshiping these idols, right? Going against abandoning Yahweh Shai and worshiping these idols, right? Worshiping the golden calves and giving in to these wicked, detestable things. These things that can't do nothing for them. Literally, these things can do nothing for them, right? I'm gonna bring a precept that the brother brought out. Unless he went into let's say Jeremiah. I think it's Jeremiah 3. Might be Jeremiah. No, I think it's Jeremiah. Let's see. Bear with me. Let me see if it can come up. I want to see if it might be a song. I want to see if it can come up by typing in like this. Okay, con. Right? This song 115, right? Start at verse, I'll start at verse 1. It says, "Not unto us, O Lord Yahweh, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory, for thy mercy and for thy true sake," right? When we give honor and glory, that's the first oracle, giving honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, right? But Jake giving honor and glory to who? Right? They sharing the Most High's glory. The Most High is the one who delivered us from Egypt. The Most High is the one who delivered us from these captivity. The Most High is the one who's going to deliver us from this place. But they giving the Most High glory. They giving his honor, right, to JC. Give his honor to Allah. Give his honor to all these other idols, man. Right? And that's some bullshit. That's that spiritual fornication which got our nation so bugged out. That's why, the elders be so hard on these people when they calling Yahweh Shai JC. These other camps who still speak, oh, Christ blessed or JC. No, man. Call his name, let's take his name in vain. Right? The Father's name is Yahweh and the Son's name is Yahweh Shai. We give all in glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. Right? Ba meaning in, right? Baha, ha meaning the, in the, Sham name, right? In the name. You give honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, in the name Yahweh Shah, right? You know, right? But you have Jake in his spirit of fornication there going off. And they do these things. Why? That's the spirit of fornication. What they do, right? Abandon their exclusive devotion to Yahweh in order to chase what? In order to chase or worship worldly desires, false idols, or deceptive philosophies, man. That's what they do, right? So verse 4 said that idols are silver and gold, the work of man's hand, because man made these things, right? So they have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they through their throat. They that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that trusts in them, right? So is everyone that got us in the NLT. Because these people are nothing, man, right? Real quick, let's go to bear with me. Psalm 115. What is that? Verse 8 in NLT, right? It says, and those who make idols are just like them, as are all who trust in them. You fools, you hypocrites, right? You are nothing, right? You trust in these idols, you nothing, you fool. That's why Most High said, your trust in Pharaoh shall be your shame, right? Your trust in Pharaoh will be your shame. But in the kingdom, right, all Israel going to return back to Yahweh right now. It's beginning with the elect. Those are the ones who are going to overcome that shame. That's that everlasting, that's that, you should not, let me grab it real fast, right? Because this precept, you know what, watching the brother break this down would spark the lesson. Isaiah 45:17, right? And it reads, it says, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord Yahweh with an everlasting salvation. You should not be ashamed nor confound the world without end, right? Because why? We're going to return back. We're going to not be ashamed. If we not just read Isaiah 54, let's go to Isaiah 54. Why are we not going to be ashamed? Because we're going to return back. But Jake is right now, Jake is in that shame, right? He's shaming the name of Yahweh Shah. Jake is in that shame. Why? Because he's giving honor and glory to these other idols, these other guys, right? Because Isaiah 54, we'll start at verse 5. Well, I read 4 and 5, start verse 6. It says, for the Lord has called thee as a woman forsaken, grieved in spirit, and the wife of youth, right? When thou wast refused, said thy power. For a small moment have I forsaken thee, but with great mercy I will gather thee. In a little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment, because we was in that spiritual fornication, right? We're disrespecting the marriage of Yahweh outside. That's why he called those ones virgins, man. The ones who follow him, they call them virgins, right? But he says, in a little moment I hid my face from thee for a moment, but with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee, that the Lord Yahweh thy Redeemer, right? For this as the waters of Noah unto me, as I have sworn that the waters of Noah should no more go forth over the earth, so I have sworn that I will not be wroth with thee, nor rebuke thee. Why? Because we're going to return back, right? We're going to return back, beginning with the elect. And that's the goes to that same covenant. The law is clearly written in our hearts and minds, right? And Most High is going to destroy all these other philosophies, all these other ways. Everybody going to come, and everybody going to come to us to learn the ways of Yahweh Shah. Most High is going to get Jake out of that fornication. Most High is going to destroy all these idols. Most High is going to destroy all of them. Right, because Jake is in that spirit of fornication, giving into these idols, giving into these man-made gods, right? But when you understand that, also that's part of the curses. That's how I worship wood and stone, right? Let's grab that. So like I'm sitting in the car and it's raining pretty heavy, right? This Deuteronomy 28. Right? Let's see. That's around about. Bear with me. Yeah, right here, right? Deuteronomy 28:36 says, the Lord will bring thee, the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee, and thy king which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation which thou neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there thou shalt worship, there thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. So it's a curse put upon our people, right? It's spiritual fornication that Jake gonna worship these other gods, right? And that's what Jake been doing. Jake been into it heavy, man. Jake deep into it. Jake don't even want to return back to Yahweh Shah. He don't even want to know the names of Yahweh Shah. You know, he's so caught up in JC and Allah and Buddha. He gets caught up in all the other things. He don't even care, right? Right? Deuteronomy 28:64. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even to the other, and there shall not serve, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." This is what Jake do. That's spiritual fornication, right? Jake is worshiping all these other guys, all these other idols, and the Most High is going to bring all of it down, right? And that's how the Most High is going to get his power back to the earth. But he's going to bring, when Yahweh shall bring destruction, right, upon this earth, upon America, right, Israel and other parts of the earth, everybody gonna know the true powers is Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, man, right? Real quick, Revelation 19, real fast. I want to say about verse 9. You know what? Actually, verse 6, right? It says, "Then I heard again." I'm reading in the NLT, Revelation 19:16. So then I heard again what sounded like a shout of a vast crowd, right? Or the roar of mighty ocean waves, or the crash of loud thunder. Praise the Lord Yahweh, because this is the Most High getting his reign in the earth. This is the Most High getting his glory back in the earth, man. Right? Jake has worshiped all these other gods, all these other idols. The Most High is getting his reign back in the earth. Right? He's showing you that all these idols are nothing. Right? He said, praise the Lord Yahweh, for the Lord Yahweh our power, the almighty reign. This is him getting his reign back to the earth. Right? You know? They've been giving all it to these other idols, all these other guys. You know, Yahweh Shah is getting his reign back to the earth now, man. Right? And that's what he's going to do when he destroy these idols, destroy all these guys, man. Right? But Lord willing, I just want to touch on that real fast, you know, about, you know, going into that, because the brother already went into the everlasting shame, but that's the everlasting shame, that spiritual fornication. Jake going off. That's why we read Isaiah 50:40 started off, you know, you should not be ashamed, because we're going to return back to the Father, beginning with the elect. We get out of the way of this spiritual fornication. But that's the main thing what Jake has been in. Right, these idols, the other guy, it was the beginning of it. Right, it was the beginning of that spiritual fornication, which led Jake astray. You know, the farther we got from my land, the farther we got from my people, Jake was looking for a rest. Jake was looking for somebody to count on. Think about the account when Moses went up to the mount. Right, Moses went up to the mount, and Moses was showing them everything. And they went up to Aaron to create the golden calves, you know, to give golden. They want to worship, they want to praise something, they want to count on something. And said, you know, that's why the Most High said, you know, your trust in Pharaoh shall be your shame, right? And real quick, when I was meditating in spirit, I want to grab Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, because this is in the mindset of the wicked, and they're gonna realize, and it's showing you how they realize that, you know, they should have put their trust into Yahweh Shah, because they feeling shameful for not trusting Yahweh Shah, right? Let me see. Really, I will start at verse 4, right? It says, "We fools accounting his life madness and his end to be without honor." Con, you know, that's what they do to man. You saying, well, you worship who? Yeah, no, that's not his name. His name is Yah. His name is Yahweh. No, his name is Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shah, right? So they looking at us like many people fools, these people crazy, right? You know, man, JC loves everybody, you know, right? So he said, we count his life madness and his ends to be without honor. It's how they look at the righteous men of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. They thinking that we're the wicked. They thinking that we're the fools, right? How is he? This the mindset of the wicked when he see the screenings of the salvation. Those sincere men of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, you know, willing they elect, Lord willing that hopefully elect, right? You know, they're being beat up into the chariots. They being joined together. That marriage with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. Why? Because they got out of the way of their spiritual fornication. They repented and returned back. That's why those are those virgins. They ain't playing the hard life. You know, Jeremiah 31 speaks about them playing the hard life. Jeremiah 2 made that degenerate plan, right? Playing the hard life. They're not playing the hard life. They're not out committing spiritual fornication, laying down with every idol, laying down with every way of these nations. No, right? It says, how is he numbered among the children of Yahweh, and his lot is among the saints? Therefore, we have erred from the way of truth, right? Because the truth is out here. The Most High using his prophets to push the truth, push his word, right? And the light of the righteousness have not shined unto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not upon us. Here's the point. Verse 7 and 8. We wearied ourselves in the way of the wickedness and destruction. Yeah, choosing these ways, these idols, way of these heathen. Yeah, we have gone through deserts where they lay no way. But as for the way of the Lord, we have not known it. Why? Because they have chosen these idols. What hath pride profited us? Or what good has riches with our running brought us? Right? All those things are passed away like a shadow, and as a post that hasted by. Right? So they seeing how all these things, these idols, the pride of life, the world, they seeing how all these things are passed away. And and guess who gonna get the last say so? You know, the brother had said yesterday who was at the camp. Who should get the last say so? Right? The prophets, the apostles, the sincere men, the elect. Right? That's why he says and rejoice over her, ye apostles. Let's grab that real quick. Right? Revelation 18 and 20. Right? It says, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yahweh hath avenged her on you. Because those are the ones who got out of that spiritual fornication mindset. Because don't get me wrong, we were all in that at one point. You know, we were all in that spiritual fornication at one point. Our parents raised us up in churches. We, you know, until Yahweh brought us in the truth, brought us in the word, brought the spirit upon us to get out of that spiritual fornication. Right? So now we back, now we return. Right? Now we standing firm with naming how about Yahweh. We being sincere. We keeping our vow. You know, in the marriage that it said they vows. We keeping our vow sincere to Yahweh Yahweh in this spiritual marriage that we in. Right? Remember, Scripture say Yahweh Yahweh is thy husband is thy maker. Right? He said he would gather us. He would gather us like he gathered the widow. Merely paraphrasing. Right? He bringing us back. Right? So he taking us out of that shame. He taking us out of that confound. He taking us out of that being ashamed. Right? Because in the end, right now they don't look like it. But in the end, they're gonna realize they're gonna be shamed. They're gonna be pitiful that they went against Yahweh to choose these idols. And in the end, they're gonna be mad about it. They're gonna be hurt about it. They're gonna be ashamed about it. Right? But Lord willing, in the kingdom though, all Israel will be perfect. All Israel will be saved. Right? They'll be born again through elect seed. You know, we're gonna be perfect in the kingdom. But on this side, they're gonna go through that shame. That's why I said. What's that? Ezekiel 36. What it speaks about? They shall loathe themselves. They're gonna look at themselves and be like, "Damn, I'm tripping. Right? I was tripping, man. I was going off. It was bad. I can't believe I was worshiping JC. I can't believe I gave in to that bullshit, man. There's no way, right? You know. So, Lord willing, right? We want to cut on that. Lord willing, right? Lord willing, Spirit allow. You know, we'll do the other lesson upload later as well. You know, kind of going into like I said, they play hand in hand with each other. You know, going into that battle with the flesh versus understand the battle, man. The flesh and the spirit, right? Understand that battle, flesh and spirit. Understanding, you know, that you know, only way we can overcome this flesh, only way we can overcome this battle is through the spirit and power. How about y'all shot? Nobody else can deliver you. Nobody else can save you. These idols. You know why you think these Christians, these Muslims, you know, why you think these people so bugged out? Because they don't got the spirit of poverty. How about y'all try to fight against that flesh, to fight against that lust, right? So they easily give in to it. It's easy for them to be tricked and deceived. It's easy for them to fall short. And even though we fall short as well, but we have a fight within us to be served unto righteousness. You know, we're not saying we perfect. We have a fight within us to be served unto righteousness. We have a fight within us to stay strong in the faith, because we understand the tests and the battles that we face day by day, right? You know, we understand that this world tried to deceive us, trick us, to get us caught back up in that spiritual fornication, try to enforce JC on everybody, Christianity on everybody, right? They try to make Muslim, Christianity, and all these things the main two religions, right? Or fake, like them Jews over there in that land, those fake Jews are true Jews. No, or we see these things, right? We see these things, but through the spirit and power, how about Shasha, we remain focused on the will, right? But Lord, we'll go into that later. But Lord, like I said, I want to touch on this, right? A little bit. And I'll read it down a little bit more in the definition. He said in the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, the most common application of the term is for idolatry, right? Because ancient Israel relationship with Yahweh was frequently described as a marriage covenant, right? We're not talking about that. Abandoning Yahweh to worship pagan idols like Baal or golden calves. And we spoke on those things, right? This what Jake did. This what deterred us away. This what led us to be. This what led us into this captivity that we in. Jake don't understand it. Jake complaining and crying about the position in the things we going through. Don't even understand that we're causing it upon yourself. He's like these hypocritical women, man. These women that go out and do some weird shit, cheat on you, then come back and try to guilt trip you, crying and doing all. No, you can't do that. You got to be honest to your vow. You broke the vow, so there's gonna be a punishment behind it. Divorce or whatever it is, how you take it. Same thing with us. We broke that marriage. Worshiping these idols, but all these golden calves, worshiping all these things, right? Worshiping these detestable things, right? So there's a punishment because Most High is a jealous guy. He ain't trying to share. This as much as you ain't trying to share your woman with everybody. Most High ain't trying to share. And Most High wasn't trying to share his people with all these guys. He's a jealous guy. What is that? Bear with me real fast. Let me grab that tab. It's something to this. It's something to this extent, right? Yeah. Isaiah 42. My glory will I not give another. Right, that's what it is. Isaiah 42:8. Let's grab that real fast. Right, Isaiah 42:8. It says, "I'm the Lord Yahweh. That is my name." Right, Yahweh. Right, we're going to the Hebrew letters of Yahweh. Right, Yah meaning he, Howah is this or to be. Right, I am the Lord Yahweh. That is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. Once I bring it in my notes, guess what? Right. You can't be calling Yahweh by saying Yahweh Shah, different names, giving his honor and glory to another, right? We give his glory to another when you call on JC, when you call on Allah, when you call on these other guys, when you call on these other idols, when you call on these things, you give his honor and glory to other gods, other idols, man. You give his God to those idols, man. You give his glory to those idols, right? And that's why the Most High is punishing the people. That's why he said a lot of them gonna learn it through death and pain. They gonna know when Yahweh bring this destruction. We read Revelation 19:6. When he bring this destruction, when he bring this fire upon this place, they gonna know, right? That's why he said, then they shall call me, but I will not hear. They shall seek me, but they shall not find me, right? Because you had the chance to return back, to get out of that spiritual fornication. You had the chance. Your husband caught you cheating, and he gave you a chance to get yourself together, right? Matter of fact, let's grab that. Oh, that's the spirit. Most time when we bring more out, right? Jeremiah 3:1. It says, they say, if a man put away his wife and she go from him and become another man's wife, shall he return to her again? The answer is no, right? That's adultery, right? As long as that man alive, right? That woman belongs to that man until that man passes, right? As long as that man alive, she belongs to that man, right? So if she go lay down with another man knowing she has a husband, has a man, and sex is marriage, right? So you lay down and part that woman, you lay with that woman, she belong to you until you pass. And she go lay down with another man, guess what? That's adultery. So she would get stoned to death, right? It says, shall not the land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers. What are you talking about? The idols, the golden calves, but all these other idols, right? Yet return again to me, said the Lord Yahweh, right? But yet the Most High brought us back in. That's the mercy. So now if you're gonna go out and cheat again, you're gonna go out and get in that spiritual fornication again, if you're gonna go out and go against Yahweh again, man, he's finna punch tail out. You crazy. You ain't even gonna argue with the woman the next time you catch it. Just get out. Bye. Take your stuff and get out. Right? Right? So why you think Yahweh is finna keep giving you chances over and over and over? We done gave you chances over and over and over. But he brought us back in even after we played the hard life. So now we had this chance to make things right. When you went catch a woman cheating, now she want to do everything you was mentioning to her before, right? Now she cooking every day as soon as you get home, right? Now she got your clothes folded out. She wake up in the morning, have your breakfast before you go to work. Yeah, that's how you move when y'all bashing y'all shop. We walking circumspect. We ain't trying to mess up no more, right? We being served unto righteousness, as I mentioned earlier. I'm not saying we perfect, but we slip and fall. We in this flesh as well, right? But we walking circumspect. We ready to take risks. We good. Right, we don't want to hear nothing about the idols. We don't care nothing about the idols. We ain't trying to play around because we in this spiritual marriage. How about y'all shop? And that spiritual fornication what messed up our marriage covenant the first time, that agreement the first time. Right, we ain't trying to go that route no more. Right, because now we got everything back into us. That big house you and your girl had. Now she got the house back. Now she got her cars back. Everything good. Her family back together. That's how we now we all back together because we that bride. Right, we that bride. Revelation 19 speaks about that. The bride get herself ready. Right? The bride get herself ready. Who's that bride? The elect. We're preparing ourselves, right, for the joining, that marriage, for joining with Yahweh Shah. Right? So let's read a little bit more on this, Slakia. Again, before we close it out. It says Yahweh was because ancient Israel's relationship with Yahweh was frequently described as a marriage covenant. Abandoning Yahweh to worship pagan idols like Baal, golden calves was viewed as marital infidelity or spiritual prostitution, right? That's what it's speaking about. He said the book of Hosea serves as a famous allegory for this concept. Yahweh commands the prophet Hosea to marry an unfaithful woman, Gomer, as a physical representation of how Israel constantly forsook Yahweh for other spiritual lovers, those idols. The phrase going whoring after or playing the harlot are commonly used in the Old Testament to describe this disloyalty, man, right? So it says the New Testament frequently used the Greek word porneia, right? Usually translated as fornication or sexually immoral. While it retains its literal meaning, it also used to physically describe the church adopting the sinful or worldly behaviors of surrounding culture. What's the church? The church is the people. Talking about Israel. They adopted what? The idols. JC, right? Allah, right? Calling Yahweh just God, right? When word God just means power. Allah, word God in Hebrew is Elohim, right? Elohim, right? Allah meaning power, Ha meaning the, Yom makes it plural. Elohim, right? So when you understand it, you see how Jake was that spiritual fornication, that playing the harlot, playing the whore. Once again, Jeremiah 2 speaks on it as well, right? We just read Jeremiah 3 and 1. We'll read Jeremiah 2 real fast and 20. It says, for of old time have broken thy yoke and breaks thy band. Right now said I will not transgress, right? Because Jake would be sinning, going against Yahweh Shah, and you know, we had the name, so we'd call him Yahweh Shah, Yahweh please deliver us, Yahweh please deliver us. He had deliver us. And we'll say we won't sin no more, we ain't gonna go against you no more, right? But then as soon as we deliver us, we go back doing the same thing. Just like now, Jake go back doing the same thing. Now Jake is worshiping the idols of his captors, man. Look at it. Look how bugged out it is, right? But continue going on, it says, when upon every high hill, under every green tree, talking about those idols, right? Under every green tree, talking about those idols again, these metaphors for those idols, right? Thou wanderest playing the harlot. That's what Jake doing, playing the harlot. That's spiritual fornication. That spiritual sexual immorality, man. Right? Going against Yahweh Shah, going against the marriage, going against the covenant, what he gave us. That's not worship other gods, that's not serve other gods, that's not bow down to other God. That's what Jake is doing. That spiritual fornication was one of the beginning downfalls of our nation, man. Right? But spiritual fornication was one of the beginning downfalls of our nation, man. Right? So let me see. That's really kind of what I wanted to grab, Lord willing, right? Let's see if we got any more on this we can dissect from it. Right? Other than that, right? Lord